This is the plaintiff, Terrence Goodrum. He says the defendant contacted him and hired him to paint the entire interior of her house. He was about 90% done with the job when the defendant told him she was getting someone else to finish up. Huh? All he had left was to do touch-ups. He's been paid nothing and is suing for the $1,000 contracted for and the price they agreed upon. This is the defendant, Carmela Johnson. She says she can't stand white walls, so she hired the defendant, a so-called painter, to change the colors of her rooms to multiple shades of purple and teal. The guy told her it would take a day, and now, 16 days later, not only wasn't he done, her house was a complete mess. He got paint on her appliances, and it looked like a 2-year-old painted her walls, and she could have done a better job on her own. She's accused of painting a guy into a corner.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff says he was almost done painting the defendant's house when she abruptly kicked him off the property, wouldn't let him back on, and now stiffed him. But the defendant says the plaintiff paints like a 2-year-old with a crayon, and she had to hire somebody else to fix all his mistakes. It's the case of Hugh Stink.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Okay, Mr. Goodrum, you were hired by Ms. Johnson to paint her home. Tell me about it. What was the deal you guys struck?
Okay, the original deal was she wanted me to paint her downstairs, and I called her and she agreed, and we met up and she agreed to the price, and I started that Saturday.
What was the price?
$1,000.
Okay. And then what happened while you were there? Did that become also painting the top?
What had happened, she wanted me to put the backsplash in, so I was going to do that after the painting. And on the second day, I had finished 90% of the painting, and then it was time for me to leave. She started acting real kind of strange, and then we both agreed
How
that I would
so?
come back Monday morning. She kept asking me about a crew. Terrence, why didn't you bring your crew? Why didn't you bring your crew? Everyone knows that I work alone. I don't have a crew. And on the second day when I was leaving, I'm supposed to come back the next day on that Monday. And then Monday morning, I called her to let her know. And she sent me a message telling me that let me see, how did she put it? Unfortunately, I wasn't expecting you that morning. And I'm saying, unfortunately, you're not expecting me that morning. That's the deal we had, that I'm supposed to finish your house. And then all of a sudden she called me.
Can I ask you, so how many days had you worked at that point?
2 days.
Okay, so what is it she says? She wants you to do what?
And then when I sent her the text message demanding my money, that's when she told me that was the range, and we never had a contract, and I'll see her in court.
Can I ask you a question? It was $1,000 to paint what, according to you?
To paint the interior of her home.
All of it, including the bedrooms upstairs?
Including a couple of bedrooms, yes.
And by that second day, how far along had you gotten?
By the second day, I completed 90% of the downstairs, the kitchen, the living room, with 4 colors of purple.
Had you done any of the bedrooms upstairs?
No.
Okay, let me hear from you, Ms. Johnson. What seems to be the problem?
Hi, Judge. I hired Mr. Goodrum on June the 10th. He came by the house. I made a phone call to him a few days prior, and we agreed upon $1,000 for 4 bedrooms, one of which is my office, and my living room, dining room, and my kitchen. $4,000 plus the backsplash for my kitchen. So he told me he would actually be able to do it in a day. So he came by that Saturday.
Do you have any, can I ask you a question? I know you folks don't have a written contract, which would be helpful, but do you have any texts or emails or anything else that you could show me that would prove that he said 4 bedrooms, a living room, a backsplash, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, would take 1 day? Because I know it can't take a day. So I'm wondering, can you prove he said it would take a day?
No, ma'am, that was verbal between he and I. So I asked him, I said, I'm really confused because this is day 2. And I thought maybe you had a crew that was going to come with you. That would be the only way you could finish in a day. I was like, but I was so shocked when I came downstairs, Judge, because it wasn't even near finished. It wasn't even 90% done. You have pictures there.
Yes, I do have pictures. Okay, these are his pictures, not yours. So you took pictures, which is good. Every contractor should do that whenever they're doing a job. These are your pictures, right, sir?
Yes.
Okay, so you took a picture of it before, and then this is the work that you had done, which basically leaves the cut in to be finished. You didn't like how this looks because you felt like a 2-year-old had done it, but really that's just, cutting it in. It's not that much that's left. Now, here are pictures that he took and he introduced into evidence of it cut in. So at day 2 or day 3, I guess, according to you, how long was he there before you got tired of him and told him not to come back?
I didn't tell him not to come back when he was here. He was here 2 days. He was here for 16 hours and hadn't completed this downstairs.
16 hours.
Yes,
16
ma'am.
hours and
He
hadn't
was
completed
here,
the downstairs. All right.
Do you have the pictures there that I sent?
Yes, let's look at those if you want to. Okay, tell me what these show. What is this picture supposed to show?
This is how he left my home for 6 days before.
With
I
the
was able to
furniture
hire
in the
someone
middle
else
of the
to come.
room.
I couldn't sit
Right.
down in my dining room or anywhere.
Yeah, it's always rough to do construction. So you say this is how he left your home?
Yes.
Hold on. And Mr. Goodrum, you say she didn't let you finish, right?
She wouldn't let me finish.
Let's look at the text. Hold on. Okay. Terrence, I need this whole downstairs completed by tomorrow. Please, including with the backsplash, with everything put back together, please. And then you say to her, Mr. Goodrum, good morning.
Yes.
Unfortunately, due to a prior commitment we discussed before I accepted this job, I will not be able to be at your home until 10 or 11 this morning. However, I am somewhat perplexed by the direction of the conversation we were having as I was exiting your home. Every aspect of this job has been performed with professionalism and within a timely manner and absolutely no destruction to your personal property. So I'm completely taken aback by the assumption that I have not spent every moment at your job on the task of completing the beautification of your home. In the 2 days I've been at your home, I performed an extraordinary amount of work towards the beautification of your home. So I'm somewhat confused by your statement that you didn't bring a crew. So in order for me to utilize all the time I've been allotted to complete the task, can you move all the things off the counter for the installation of the backsplash? So then you say, let's do this since it's gone past the time we allotted and scheduled at the beginning. Just complete the painting downstairs and just paint underneath the cabinets and put everything back in order. Clean up everything used and bring that sheet for the backsplash. I'll get it done somehow and my upstairs. Well, you're changing the contract on him. And you're saying you're changing it because he violated the contract because he said he'd finish everything in a day. But if you want to have that defense, you got to prove that defense. You're saying to him, I've got to move forward. My week is pre-planned. I can't be here all week. I just can't. Thank you for doing what you've done so far. I will gladly accommodate you for the downstairs painting. To which he says, at no time during our previous discussion did I indicate I would be complete with your home in 2 days. You say to him, what time tomorrow can we complete this task as stated in my previous test? And he says, I've cleared my schedule today, Monday, at your request to finish this project today. As indicated by your reply text, you have decided not to allow me to finish. How would you have finished that project today anyway? You hadn't even started on the upstairs. You weren't going to finish it all that day. You have decided not to allow me to finish. And then you tell her you've breached your contract. And I am requesting the $2,500 we agreed upon.
Right there.
So tell me, Mr. Goodrum, where did she agree to $2,500 for the work that had already been completed? Why are you sending this text?
Ma'am, that was a mistake on my part. Me and her never agreed to $2,500.
Terrence, you know darn well you and I didn't at any time discuss no $2,500 about nothing. I'll see you in court, which is true because she's thinking you're trying to scam her. And then she says, and be sure to show your contract. You have no idea who you're dealing with here. Do not text me again. You're deranged. But you understand that's not her saying, I never authorized you to do work in my house. You've got pictures of yourself doing work and pictures of the work you did in that house. That's her saying, are you out of your mind? I didn't authorize $2,500. And that's her getting mad thinking you're scamming her. Do you understand that?
Welcome back to the People's Court. The plaintiff says he was stiffed by the defendant after painting her house. She says that he almost ruined this beautiful house. Let's go back into the courtroom.
What ends up happening, Ms. Johnson? You end up paying somebody else to finish a job, correct?
That is correct, because what I offered Terrence in some previous texts was, I said, just come back and finish what you've done downstairs, I'll find somebody.
I know, but it's not.
Flash.
I know, but that's you trying to change a contract. You don't get the right to change a contract. The agreement was he gets to get a whole $1,000, because if he's just going to do the downstairs, you're not going to pay him $1,000. So I find, Ms. Johnson, that it is very clear in this case that you were the one who breached the contract. The question then becomes, Mr. Goodrum, how much should you get paid? Yes, she breached the contract, but it's not as though you had already finished the upstairs. You hadn't even started on the upstairs yet, right?
You're right.
Okay, so
Yes,
it should
ma'am.
be something less than the 1,000, because in the end, you didn't have to paint those 4 upstairs. So the figure I'm going to come up with, which takes into account that it was her breach, is $750. I'm going to order you to pay the plaintiff $750. Verdict for the plaintiff. Good luck, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
So the plaintiff gets only $750. Ms. Johnson, what do you think about the judge's verdict? You're going to have to give him $750.
Well, I didn't agree with it because he didn't do a good job. Paint was all on my ceiling. I had to hire someone to come in and fix it like I wanted it done professionally. And as you can see behind me, it's done professionally. So I'm happy with my new painter and not happy with the verdict, but it is what it is. The judge rules.
Okay. All right, Mr. Goodrum.
I'm quite satisfied with the verdict. I feel it's unfortunate that I did work for her, and for her to say that she wasn't happy with my work. None of the text messages that I received indicated anything other than her being extremely happy with my work.
All right. Learn a lesson. Next time, get a written contract. You'll be better off. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Okay. All right. That wraps it up for this case. Now, time for another session of After the Verdict.
Marilyn, if you contract with someone for a particular service to paint, to repair, and you need it done within a deadline, you darn well better have that deadline in writing, or you're at their mercy, pretty much, right?
If time is of the essence, then say time is of the essence and put down on a written contract. Doesn't even, I mean, listen, I've always said, grab the nearest roll of toilet paper and a crayon. It doesn't matter. Anything can be a contract.
Right.
And if you don't have it in writing, then at least send an email with your understanding and someone saying, yes, that's correct.
Yeah, and then they validate your
evidence
position.
of your verbal contract.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You basically have very strong evidence.
I don't think that there's any chance that he would ever say, I'll finish that in a day.
Right. That does seem unlikely.
Can the country mandate mask wearing, or is it up to the individual states? That is a great question. And realistically, the federal government cannot mandate mask wearing. I suppose they could try it under some emergency act, but I don't think it would stick because COVID is hitting the country in different ways where some states are safer than others. So it is the state's responsibility generally. I will say it is the federal government's responsibility to set an example and make it clear to people that mask wearing and social distancing prevents COVID. That will do it for this case. Let's go back into the courtroom for the next.